Alcatraz and they're doing this weird lusting for a detention camp. Just gross. But let's focus in now on just the moments where Trump seems so utterly confused. So utterly confused. And I'm going to try as we play these to not keep repeating the line, can you imagine if Biden? But can you imagine if Biden? And I'm not saying he didn't. He did have his flubs. We saw. And Jake Tapper told us many times. We got it. But the point in saying that, I think, is to say, not can you imagine like he never had a flub, but what the coverage was like when he did. Whereas with Trump, it's just kind of like, I don't know. He's just quirky. That's kind of often the response. He's quirky. And here he gets asked a question and the reporter repeats it twice, enunciating very clearly. And Trump just goes off on the complete wrong, not like he chose to take it somewhere weird. The weave, they called it. It wasn't the weave. He just literally, I did the weave. Supposedly, he just answered a different question that wasn't asked.
Dana Marie McNichol, Fox News Channel. Mr. President, is there an expected time frame that detainees will spend here, days, weeks, months? And does that have anything to do with the immigration judges you just spoke about being trained and staffed here?
When you say, what was the first part of your question?
Is there a specific time frame you expect the detainees to spend here? Days, weeks, months?
So the detainees, does he not, maybe he doesn't know the word detainee. Referring to someone being detained, okay? He then starts talking about how he's going to be in Florida a lot. But the question is, what's the time frame at this detention camp that folks are going to be detained?
Needs to spend here, days, weeks, months.
In Florida?
Yes, here at Alligator Alcatraz.
I'm going to spend a lot. Look, this is my home state. I love it. I love your government. I love all the people around. These are all friends of mine. They know them very well. I mean, I'm not surprised that they do so well. They're great people. Ron has been a friend of mine for a long time. I feel very comfortable in the state. I'll spend a lot of time here. I want to, for 4 years, I've got to be in Washington, and I'm okay with it because I love the White House. I even fix up the little Oval Office. I make it, it's like a diamond. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It wasn't maintained properly, I will tell you that. But even when it wasn't, it was still the Oval Office, so it meant a lot. But I'll spend as much time as I can here. You know, my vacation is generally here because it's convenient. I live in Palm Beach. It's my home. And I have a very nice little place, nice little cottage to stay at, right? But we have a lot of fun, and I'm a big contributor to Florida. Pay a lot of tax, and a lot of people move from New York, and I don't know what New York is going to do. A lot of people moved to Florida from New York, and it was for a lot of reasons, but one of them was taxes. The taxes are so high in New York that
I think when he gets confused, to convince himself he's not, he just gives a longer, like the longer, the less confident he is that he's saying the right stuff, the longer he'll stretch it out. And a particularly disturbing revelation from the new book, Original Sin, is that staffers winced as President Biden was asked, how long? How long until student loan borrowers see relief because of your initiative? And he went off on a rant about Delaware and growing up in Delaware. Listen, time frames, whatever. I grew up in Delaware. It's a pretty white place. Not too many black people. I met a black person. I said, I could be your friend. Wow. It's a good place. I like going to the beach, chill. She used to say, am I the hottest woman I've ever seen? I said, you can't put me in that position, Jill. I had a black friend. His name was Jim. We had a good time together in Delaware. He taught me a lot of stuff about going down the plot.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
There it is. He'd say something. He'd say, these are the type of guys you like to smack in the ass. It's a good place, Delaware. Really white. Listen, it's like... And in that moment, Hunter Biden took control. Hey, listen. I can't do a Hunter impression. Let's not even go down that road. I don't know. Something hookers. I don't know. Does that work for y'all? Oh gosh. Okay, so then you have this.
It was when I first came in. You know, we lowered the cost of groceries. A simple word like that, groceries, it was like almost a strange word. I hadn't heard the word in so long, but what could be more beautiful than the word grocery? And we have the prices way down. We have the energy way down. Energy brought the groceries down, if you want to know the truth. And, you know, so we think we're going to get it lower, and we're going to fill up the it's called the Strategic National Reserves. I had it topped out, and this guy would use them every time before the election. He'd use them whenever they had an election. It was artificial.
One moment that brought tears to Jill Biden's eyes as she sat in the crowd, chills going down her spine as she listened to Joe Biden speak about the beauty of the word groceries, seemingly not understanding that it's a common word. I really do think, and again, some MAGA folks defend it by just saying, no, he just doesn't know what he's talking about. But it's not like because of age or anything, which is great. Let's not make it about any brain related. Let's just say he just has never known that groceries is a completely normal word. It's not old fashioned. It's not beautiful. I mean, if you think it's beautiful, fine, you can think it's beautiful. Eye of the beholder, I guess. But it's not. Clearly, he thinks it's like not a term people use a lot when it's one of the more common ones. But there's not the sort of oldest, because he says it more confidently, that it doesn't get, because I can actually imagine, I'm not gonna do it again. I can only use, Jaden says you can only do 2 minutes of Biden impressions per show. And so I can't do it anymore. I can feel it here. Listen, I can't, but I don't, it's there, right here, right now it's here, okay? And it wants to come out, I'm not gonna do it. But I can hear Biden saying the groceries thing, imagine it if you would. Groceries, old-fashioned word. I'm sorry, I have like 3 more seconds. Never heard the word, I started using it. And my black friend told me he used the word groceries. I said, is that a black community thing? I can hear it, and that would be a clip played a lot. And we play it, but there's not the same fervor around it. There's not the same concern. And I know there's a difference in how these are displayed, but still, it's wildly incoherent, and we can still make that point. We can do both. We can make that point. Trump's happens to be, whatever you call it, he's never known a lot of this stuff, he just couldn't hear the question, and he's authoritarian and really dangerous, right? So it's fine to bring up both, especially when Trump's terrible. That's my analysis. Here's more.
I know how good we were, but others was getting rid of rules, regulations, and all of the things that I got rid of already. I signed more executive orders than anybody in history, times like 3 or 4. And I got rid of just one. I got rid of the other night. You buy a house, they have a faucet in the house, Joe, and the faucet, the water doesn't come out. They have a restrictor. You can't, in areas where you have so much water, they don't know what to do with it. You have a shower head, the shower doesn't, you think it's not working. It is working. The water's dripping out. And that's no good for me. I like this hair nice and, I like that hair nice and wet. You have to stand in the shower for...
Whoever just clapped needs to go to jail. Whoever just clapped needs to go to prison for life. Put that person in alligator Alcatraz.
You have to stand in the shower for 20 minutes before you get the soap out of your hair. And I put a thing in, and it sounds funny, but it's really not. It's horrible.
Okay. It's horrible. It's one of the great atrocities. Drip, drip, drip. Just get a better shower head. I don't know.
But it's really not. It's horrible. And when you wash your hands, you turn on the faucet, no water comes out. You're washing, the water barely comes out. So this was done by crazy people. And I wrote it all off and got it approved in Congress so that they can't just change it. Because I did it in my first term. Everyone was so happy. And then one of the first things that Biden did when he came back is he put the restriction on showers, toilets, and sinks. Put this restriction, and washing machines. The washing machine, they give you like a quarter of this bottle to do your clothing. And people needed 10 of these bottles. And the people came to me from Whirlpool, and they said, we can't make a machine that's competitive. We can't make a machine anymore. It doesn't work. Why? They don't let us use water. Do you have any problems with water? No, we have so much we don't know what to do with it. You know, it comes down from heaven, right? And I approved all of that, the washing machine.
Mr. President, my question was about Ukraine. His obsession. So, first of all, he doesn't do his own laundry. He hasn't done his own laundry maybe ever. So that gives you a little hint that he's just kind of speaking out of his rear end. For him to go, oh, the washing machines aren't, it's so upsetting. You need 10 of these, which I'm sure it uses way more than 10 water bottles, but maybe I'm wrong. And he doesn't do his laundry. He couldn't possibly know that. He thinks groceries is this wild word that no one's ever heard of. So out of touch on that front. But also, we've looked at these standards changes, and it doesn't do what he's talking about. You have certain requirements to make sure companies update their technology and implement efficiency initiatives that save people money. But it's not like all of a sudden, is this the case for you where you had the same shower and Biden gets elected and the water just starts dripping and then Trump gets elected? It's like, oh yeah, that's how I like it, hard. Was that your experience? You remember when Trump said he loves the heart, he loves it when it pounds you? He literally said
daddy.
that. Yeah, well, not that, but he literally said that. He said, I love it when the water pounds. I love getting pounded in the shower. It was something like that. You think I'm making a joke. I'm telling you what he said. Stop wincing, Jaden. Jaden should give me all sorts of attitude. I'm telling you, this is a quote from Trump. I like it to come real hard at me. What? And then, this is my point, you go from something so absurd and embarrassing that it's laughable to dangerous.
Yeah, please, go ahead. White shirt, glasses.
Julio Rosas, Blaze Media, sir. A couple months ago, I ran into former DHS Secretary Mayorkas, and I asked him a couple questions about his disastrous handling of the border. He didn't like my questions. But the number one question that I heard from people in responding to my video was, why hasn't he been arrested yet? Obviously you guys are cleaning up the mess that was made deliberately for the past 4 years, and so people want accountability. It's great to see that the border is secured, and it's great to see the state level cooperation. But I guess I would ask you, why hasn't he been held accountable, or anybody really?
Well, pardons were given out by...
Yeah, so I grew up in a suburb of Austin, and it was a really great place. And there were just good people. And I liked it because it was kind of like the benefit of a suburb, but the excitement of a city, And Jaden was actually my friend back then. Cole, we knew each other, but it took me a while.
Clean, beautiful Cole.
It took me a while to figure out Cole's whole vibe. And that's how I'm half expecting him to answer this question. You don't know what's coming.
Why hasn't he been held accountable, or anybody really?
Well, pardons were given out by to many people, and they shouldn't have been given out. Like the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs was given a pardon because they destroyed all of the information from 2 years of hearings, and they should be arrested, but they were given pardons. Was he given a pardon, Mayorkas? Was he not?
I don't believe so.
Well, I'd take a look at that one, because what he did is it's beyond...
So the evidence wasn't destroyed by the Select Committee. He lies about it all the time. And he's just casually... Well, also the reporter is ridiculous for acting like the U.S. president is supposed to make individual decisions about their predecessor and arresting them. But it is dangerous that he's like, yeah, I'll look into arresting Mayorkas, yeah. For what? For doing policies they didn't like. That's not how our government works. Where you don't like how they operated, not because they committed crime, but you just didn't like how they operated, so you want to arrest them. It's dangerous and in line with Trump's directing of his DOJ to investigate numerous political opponents. And then you have here him just being so open about his corruption, where he, with Eric Adams' case, intervened because Eric Adams was giving him little kisses, not literally, but you get it. And so then he, in exchange for that political shift from Eric Adams, Trump got rid of the case for him.
Long time since a Republican won the city, but you would think that a Republican would be able to win, or you have a good independent running.
By the way, did I forget this late into the video? If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Please do. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Long time since a Republican won the city. But you would think that a Republican would be able to win. Or you have a good independent running, Mayor Adams, who's a very good person. I helped him out a little bit. He had a problem, and he was unfairly hurt over this question. He he made a statement to the effect that this is terrible. New York City can't have all these immigrants come in. And like he was indicted the following day.
No.
And I said, that was a phony indictment. And it was a phony indictment. That was a Biden indictment. I said, don't feel bad. I got indicted 5 times every time you opened your mouth. That was a bad
4 times, I thought.
group. That was a very dangerous group, I will tell you. These were not nice people. That was the only thing they could do. They had no policy.
Okay. So he's just admitting, like, I liked that Eric Adams said stuff about immigrants or something, so I intervened in a case that had nothing to do with that, just corruption, and got rid of it for him. Fred Wellman said the key to secret deals is to not talk about the secret deal, but Trump has a head full of rotting hamburger and can't shut the F up. You know, I recently, who was it? I can't even remember if this was a conversation I had or a podcast I was listening to. You know when that happens, you're like, my buddy told me, and then you think, wait, my buddy didn't tell me that. That was a podcast. But somebody said, I know this doesn't make sense necessarily. Where did I hear this? But I don't see Trump's corruption as bad because he does it out in the open. And so he's not hiding it. And he's more transparent about it. Who uses that logic ever? Anytime. On anything else? Oh, I appreciate that this person killed my brother next to me instead of in a room separate from me where I would have to find out through other sorts. Like, it just doesn't even make any sense. But people defend him by saying, see, it's so nice. He just says it. Yeah, I got rid of Eric Adams' case. He's so honest in that way, except for his tens of thousands of lies every 2 seconds. Then more dangerous stuff. He's talking about CNN reporters being arrested because they did reporting he didn't like on Iran.
And Madam Secretary, CNN yesterday pushed an app that lets you track where ICE agents...
I recognize that reporter's voice. Who is that? Who is that, Cole? It's Benny.
What's up, guys? It's Benny.
By the way, take that down for a second, just since we're on the subject of Benny. Here we go. Ken Klippenstein, I was trying to figure out what this was, said Benny Johnson, of all people, calling someone out for the supposed dishonesty of their public persona, LMAO. And it was Benny Johnson exposing AOC, I guess, trying to expose her for living in a suburb, but being a Bronx girl. She was born in the Bronx and she lived there at some point, but I guess also lived in a suburb throughout her childhood. And so he's like, wow, she's lying. The point Ken is making is this the same Benny, which I forgot about this, who posted, ugh, this is so annoying, right? The advertising on the Military Times right now. So, I went on this military website and they were doing promotions for, quote unquote, the world's largest gay cruise. The problem is that's a Google ad, which is, so like, he's very anti-LGBTQ, right? So it's a little bit of a contradiction there that, Benny, why was your Google ads targeting you with ads for the world's largest gay cruise?
What's up, guys? Benny.
That's interesting. Maybe there's a little contradiction with your public persona. Maybe we should focus on that a little bit more than AOC's hometown being nice or whatever. Which, by the way, the world's largest gay cruise, that's going to get out of control. That's going to get out of control. That's so funny. I know that the Google ads aren't always perfect, but people do that so often. Why the hell is CNN advertising fluffy handcuffs? And it's a Google ad. You're like, oh, what? Well, you gave it some reason to believe that you would be the correct demographic for that advertisement. And maybe you got it wrong. All right, so that's who's asking the question. Let me just poison the well as much as possible.
And Madam Secretary, CNN yesterday pushed an app that lets you track where ICE agents are. Tom Homan was saying that perhaps CNN should be prosecuted for that. That's obstruction of law enforcement. Your response?
Yeah, we're working with the Department of Justice to see if we can prosecute them for that, because what they're doing is actively encouraging people to avoid law enforcement activities, operations, And we're going to actually go after them and prosecute them with the partnership of PAM if we can, because what they're doing, we believe, is illegal.
And they may be prosecuted also for having given false reports on the attack in Iran.
Yes.
They were given totally false reports. It was totally obliterated, and our people have to be celebrated, not come.
That's insane. It is Piers Morgan. I want Piers Morgan to answer for me. Mr. Why do you keep calling him a dictator wannabe? Luke? That's such provocative language. Why? Why do you think people call him a dictator wannabe? He's saying arrest CNN for reporting on an initial assessment that said maybe it wasn't fully obliterated. That's crazy. That's dictator stuff. For sure. Will it do it? I don't know. But saying it is insane. And the whole time, too, I saw someone comment on this. You have Kristi Noem just nodding along like, some of you maybe haven't gone to church. If you've gone to a mega church or even normal churches and people are speaking and they're like, and Jesus, he died for your sins. And there's this like, yes, right? Because you're compelled and you're nodding. Yes. Amen. That's how she's nodding. Like, yes, prosecute reporters in a free country with a free press. Yes. Look. Absolutely, she says. Absolutely. I'm showing it on screen, podcast listeners, with her little MAGA hat on. Oh, and Kristi Noem, let's just take a little second to talk about this. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, the same Kristi Noem who gave, what was it, like her 5-year-old child a gun? We already got our gun for little Sarah. And we told her that you might have to use it if someone comes in this house to kill you. Everyone wants to kill you. Know that, Sarah? Good. That Kristi Noem, and also the Kristi Noem who killed her dog, she is now accused of taking an $80,000 cut of the money she raised for a nonprofit that promotes her political career and agenda, and then failing to report the income on her federal disclosure form in 2023 while Noem served as the governor of South Dakota. The nonprofit, and this was originally broken by ProPublica, I think it said that already maybe, the nonprofit American Resolve Policy Fund, which is affiliated with Noem's American Resolve PAC, paid Noem a 10% commission on the $800,000 she brought in for the nonprofit that year. The money represented a significant boost to her roughly $130,000 government salary, but Noem failed to include it on the federal disclosure form she filed when President Donald Trump tapped her to join his cabinet, and sources told the outlet that it was normal for politicians to raise money for nonprofits PACs, but not for the politician to keep some of the money for themselves and then not to report it. This is a violation. I think this is against the law. And it's disturbing. It's disturbing based on campaign finance laws and just the fact that she's supposed to disclose such things. And it's so weird to be like, donate. We're gonna stop the illegals. Donate to Kristi Noem's the boss. The super PAC, and then you take some of the money. Well, I'm the one but I'm the It's fine. It's And actually, Trump was asked about this report.
Sir, you spent a lot of time with Secretary Noem today, obviously. Did you discuss with her at all this report about an $80,000 dark money payment she received in 23 and appears to have been kept off her federal disclosure?
No, I haven't. You're telling me this for the first time. I think she's done an amazing job.
On Secretary Noem, you talked about
who are you with?
The Washington Examiner, sir, yesterday.
With my brush.
Thank you.
You don't hear that very often, actually. Oh, actually, that's a good one. Now, one other little Benny moment. Here is, so again, they're doing this weird cheerlead. It's one thing to say, I want strict enforcement, this, that, the other thing. It's another to do, like, sports viewership. You want to get an inside look and tour the facility and have merch for the alligator Alcatraz, and Trump saying that the alligators will eat up someone if they try to escape, and I was going to do snakes, but snakes are faster, but alligators, we can teach them zigzag, the alligator can't get you, right? This is all Trump's explanation, and rooting on and wanting to watch suffering. It's not that some people don't deserve detention. It's this sort of lustful cheerleading and wanting to treat it like some game. It's not a game. Benny said, hi, guys.
What's up, guys? It's Benny.
I don't know why that made me laugh. Hi, guys. I have a new offer for you for 10% off. You can go on the world's largest gay cruise. Where we're going to be discussing the dangers of the LGBTQIA plus community. Benny Johnson, signing out. I've just been handed official alligator Alcatraz merch. I repeat, this prison has merch. Things are going insanely well.
I just want everyone to know that there's official alligator Alcatraz merch. There it is, provided to us by the state of Florida.
Yeah, I think you are a sociopath. That is so weird. What a weird... I'm trying to think of another... like an analogy for this. So bizarre.
Incredible. And, yeah. Would you rock this drip? Look at that.
Would you rock this drip? Would you rock this drip? Would you rock this drip? A moderate conservative, Brad Palumbo, said, there's just something gross about this. These are public policy issues with human life at stake. They should be handled with more seriousness than this, even if you support the efforts. Yeah, exactly right. Do you like this drip? Eek, eek, eek. Share your thoughts in the comments.